Welcome to Cybermasters, another episode. Thank you for joining. Really exciting that everyone is watching the show. Want to introduce my guest, Chris Casanova of DVSS. He'll introduce himself in a moment. As you know, the show has been taking off. 1 second, please. We've been doing it since February, and we changed the studio in April. And, I've done a lot of artwork. I think you've seen the artwork that I've produced and new theme songs over time. I actually wrote a whole album for the show. And we take technology and we simplify it, right? We talk about it. Listen, all the stuff that we read on these websites, all the industry jargon, it's so complicated. I mean, it takes us an hour or two to get through what it really means. So we're bringing that to you guys. We want you guys to understand it, be able to talk about it with your peers, because awareness, as you know, is one of the biggest things. So we want to bring this information to you through the show for you to build awareness and have the right discussion with other people. I mean, so many people come to me and they go, oh, well, I'm afraid to ask this question. It feels silly. But don't, right? Get a little bit of info so you can have a more advanced conversation and head in the right direction. So, Cybermasters, thank you. Again, Wednesday night, 8 p.m., we are going to be talking about some new VPN action that's been taking place and how it's been molding and changing over the last few years since 2016. Rule 41, something you guys may not know about but should. And access control systems and security systems. My friend Chris here is an expert. Please tell us about yourself and your expertise, sir.
Well, first and foremost, Ed, thank you for having me tonight.
Thank you for
really
coming.
Appreciate it. My name's Chris Casanova. I'm Vice President of DVSS. It's a local integrator here in Long Island. We specialize in low voltage security, all forms of security. We also have managed services that we're offering as well. And, business is good. It's a good time to be alive for us. And when I say us, I mean Ed and myself, with everything going on in the world with cybersecurity and the threats of everything happening in the industry. It's a good time to be alive, you know.
So what is access control exactly?
So access control, in a nutshell, it's basically it's controlling access to a facility. Whether that be a school or a large building or any type of building for that matter. Typically you see it in commercial environments, sometimes in residential, but it doesn't get too elaborate in residential. But basically it's controlling a facility to basically dictate who is allowed into a facility and who's not, what rights they have to certain doors, what rights they have to the facility as a whole. And that's a skinny on access control.
So it's card access, it's key access, the combination of both?
So right now you have a couple different technologies. You have prox reader technology, which most people use. You swipe your key card.
Reader.
Correct. You swipe your key card, you swipe a key fob, whatever the case may be.
Everyone has the little key fob on the keychain, or they have a card, a physical card with an ID.
Exactly. But now the new way of things are going is through the phone because of the cloud. A lot of these companies are now developing these apps with digital tokens that talk to the access control panels. So essentially,
what are the digital tokens? Software on your iPhone?
Yeah. So basically, think of an iPhone token, iPhone kind of MAC address type of deal that communicates with the access control panel through the cloud. Mm-hmm. So there's a handshake that gets done, and basically. Okay. When your credentials are acknowledged by the access control panel, it says, okay, this person is allowed in.
Okay, got it. And what kind of clients do you service? You do schools, you do businesses, you do hospitals, across the board?
So we play in a lot of different verticals. Hospitals is one of our bigger ones. We did a lot in property management, but due to the pandemic, I kind of let that market go a little bit on the commercial side of it.
Really? How did the pandemic alter access control?
So from a business perspective, I saw that there was no revenue coming in to the buildings. So if there's no revenue coming in, typically with real estate, we all know they take long to pay.
Yes, yes.
And it's fun to deal with them. Chasing money is always fun, right? Holding the bag for anyone is a great time. So I said to myself, hey, you know, if we were waiting 60 to 90, sometimes 120 to get paid when the building was full, if they have no revenue coming in, how are they going to pay the bills?
Oh, man. So because they were not collecting rents, they were not able to pay their vendors.
Exactly.
And you had the security system.
Exactly.
Did it have to be turned off, or what happened?
So it wasn't really turned off essentially, but I would say updates and firmware updates, software updates, things of that nature kind of fell by the wayside.
Oh, so
And
interesting. So security takes a hit.
absolutely.
Security takes
Huge
a hit.
hit, especially right now with
Because patch control and keeping updates is a key element of security.
Huge. You have to update your firmware constantly. You know.
So when did they catch up? I mean, so there were some vulnerabilities for a little while. They didn't get turned off, but they
Yeah.
could have had better patching on their system.
Absolutely, and that's you know, like anything else, it all depends on who's paying attention on the other side. A lot of C-level employees, CIOs, or security experts think they are ahead of the curve, and as you know, as you said before,
Yes.
we're not even always ahead of the curve, right?
Yes,
so,
yes.
you know, if we're not ahead of it, and this is what we do.
Well, they have to tell their bosses they're ahead of the curve.
Exactly. It sounds great on paper.
Well, you know, you bring up a good point, because even compliance and certifications, it's a moving target. It's not exact region to region, even compliance officer to compliance officer in our industry.
Correct.
Right? So here comes COVID, and people didn't have all this residential financial activity, and not only did their access control get turned off, probably other things got affected in those
Yeah,
buildings.
tremendously. There were in our industry. There's a bunch of, you know, security is typically the last part of the puzzle, right? So when build outs happen, let's say a new building gets built, they always forget
about the
about
IT
security,
guys.
right? They always forget about security, managed networks, whatever. They say they need a network, right? But they always forget. We're last.
Yeah.
So
as long as everybody's okay.
right,
and
but
they're-
when things hit the fan, we're the first ones they call. I need a video made. I need to see my reports for the access control. I need to see my report for the alarm.
You're right.
So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. You know, when you need me, I got to be there for you.
But it gives you time to collect at that moment.
Exactly,
when they ask
exactly.
that. So you made a shift. So you went from residential into more like commercial.
Well, no, I actually kind of let go of my commercial property management. I was at one time it was around 30 to 40% of my business.
Wow, very
So pre-pandemic, we were really rocking in Manhattan. You know, Long Island a little bit. Most of it was in Manhattan. We had a lot of property management we were taking care of, but you know, we had to pivot, and we did pivot, and we got into a lot of federal work, and we did a lot with the MTA.
Okay.
Which is you know, transportation. So we kind of spread out. We looked at different
So
verticals.
government contracts you have.
Yeah, I'd say that's a big it's a big play for us. Government contracts.
Okay.
You know, that's a big avenue right now. It's become, you know, before the pandemic, we dabbled. Since the pandemic, we kind of focused more on that because the money's guaranteed.
Was it difficult to switch from doing commercial work to government work and doing RFPs?
I would say the biggest challenge we had was the paperwork, which is one thing. It's immense. I had to, at one point, I had to hire someone just to get me through one of the first projects we did. Because there was just so much paperwork.
Really?
Yeah, I had hired an outsourced an expediter, someone that did all the paperwork for me. But after I saw what they did, I kind of learned from them and said, okay, I could do this myself.
Okay.
But in the beginning, you know,
Gotcha.
you don't
You
want
don't
to
know.
mess things up, so you kind of just have to pay the vig essentially.
Gotcha.
But that was the biggest hurdle. Obviously, deadlines, paperwork, and all that stuff. That's normal.
Got it.
But yeah.
What was it difficult to get to deal with the expenses of those RFPs on the onset, if you will?
Yeah, there's a lot of hidden costs when you go at those types of projects. You know,
Okay.
you think it's similar.
Upfront,
exactly.
soft costs, if you will.
Yes. The hard costs are like anything else. You know what those are. They're illustrated. They're spelled out, right? But the soft costs, you kind of get hit in the head because you know, 1 or 2 points on a project where you got to be aggressive, it can hurt you.
You
know?
messed up.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at your website there. This is this is the company that you represent,
Absolutely.
and tell us a little bit about them. How many people work there, and where's your headquarters?
So pre-pandemic, we had around 20 people.
Okay.
20, actually 25 was the height. And I'll be honest with you, from at the beginning of the pandemic, I had to downsize tremendously.
Okay.
I went from 20, I think I had 22 exactly. I went from 22 to 6.
Okay.
And I started relying on subcontractors more to get us through. It was a scary time. We didn't know if we were going to
Very
survive.
open.
But, it happened, and we had to adjust. But since then, we've increased back up to 16 now.
Okay, so a fairly decent-sized payroll and crew.
Yeah. And the revenue, if all breaks right with the next month or two, I'll probably have to be at 20 to 30 by...
Oh, wow. So you went through a dip and you came back.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Did other vendors in your industry not have the same luck? Did people go out of business? How did it go?
Yeah, there were a lot of mergers and acquisitions in my business. It was just people just not being able to survive. Cash flow is the most important thing. And when you are running a passive income type of environment, kind of like what we do, right? We make money in our sleep. If people aren't paying their bills, you're not really making money in your sleep. You're not collecting money in your sleep.
Yes.
On your P&Ls, it looks great, but you're not collecting.
So did access control companies in general get quite affected by COVID?
Believe it or not.
Certainly. I got to imagine if buildings were empty, if residential buildings weren't collecting rents.
Yeah, it's a trickle-down effect. I mean, everyone gets affected by this. It's not, the whole world, as we know, got affected. We get affected as well. I believe it or not, right now, I'm having more trouble than ever because of the chip shortage.
Oh, getting hardware.
Yeah, so the hardware, I have 2 or 3 projects right now in limbo. Not meaning we're not going to finish them. We're going to finish them. But
how big of a delays are you experiencing?
I'm not even lying to you. I ordered equipment in March. I still haven't received it.
Really? So you went through a dip through COVID, and now you're going through another dip.
Yes.
You're going to be the strongest company on the planet at the end.
I mean, you just have to... You gotta watch the dollars. You really gotta, you gotta be strategic too. That's the one thing.
What makes you stand out from your competition? How did you survive those waves?
I pick up the phone, man. My customers are the biggest. My customers, they mean the world to me. I don't care if it's Joe Blow down the street or Joe High up the street. It doesn't really matter. Everyone gets the same white glove service from me.
Very
I always
nice.
pick up.
You're always there for people.
Always.
Okay.
I always pick up. In fact, right before this podcast, I had a call 10 minutes before.
Yes, you had to take a call.
Yeah,
and that's the VSS. It's a very personalized, both government, and you have your government authorizations to do these bids, and does corporate work, access control security systems.
Absolutely.
And obviously strong competitor in the industry and stuck around and able to do it.
Yeah.
So what makes you gives you the ability to be so agile? What happened to those folks that couldn't make it through the transition?
You really have to be versatile, and sometimes you have to pivot. That's the one thing I've learned. When the going gets tough, you can't just sit and be stagnant. You have to look at other ways to, you got to reinvent yourself when you have to. And I feel like the last couple of years we had to do that as well. There were bids in the past where I shied away from, where I'm now being a lot more aggressive and I'm going after them.
Does new generation staff realize all of this? And secondly, I've seen business owners hold on to staff and they're hemorrhaging. I guess there's a bell curve of results that can happen.
So to me it's a 2-pronged approach, right? You have to number one, as a top level employee, you have to see it. That's the first thing. If you're not seeing it, the company's not going to survive. There's no way. Because they're marching to the beat of your drum. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, we were honest with our staff. I showed them the P&L. I showed all of my staff the P&L when we went through that. I don't want to call it a crisis, but it was a downsize. And
that's very professional. Everyone's involved in the business.
I was transparent, and I said, guys, this is what we're up against. You guys know what's going on in the world. I'm not asking any of you to take a pay cut, but I did have to let go of some quality people who I loved, I had relationships with for years. But unfortunately, I had to survive. And they understood. We're still cool. There's no bad blood between me or any of them. I, in fact, have a couple of them right now that want to come back to work for us, which is great. So I don't know what we're going to do pertaining to them, but...
You're just so open about your feelings in this company. How would anybody would love to work for you because you are transparent and open. There's nothing held back. And, you're out there. You're hustling. You answer the phone, and your staff knows it.
I try to treat people how I would want to be treated. That's really what it is for me. If I worked for someone else and I said, hey, I'm in here, and they were keeping me in the dark the whole time, it's not a comfortable feeling, You want to wake up in the morning. You want to know that what you're doing is contributing to a greater cause.
I worked for a very known man in the New York region. His name was Julian Sandler.
Okay.
Owned a company called the Rent-A-PC.
Okay.
And I was very proud to be a director in his company for many years. Quarterly, he would sit the staff down, show them the P&L,
There you go.
and describe to them the finances up and down of the company.
There you go.
Everyone spoke their turn. And once a week, he made everybody in the building clean the kitchen.
There you go.
And I don't know.
Yeah.
It bonded everybody, guy.
Well, you're pulling in the same direction, right?
Pulling in the same direction.
You know, that's half the battle, as you know. And
Yeah.
culture to me is the biggest thing.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
learned.
Yeah. Well, the guys in my office, same thing. Everybody knows what's going on. Everybody's part of the same.
Pulling in the same
clique
direction,
there.
right?
Yeah. It just, the way you and I are talking and the way you and I work almost sounds like a utopian society.
Absolutely.
Because that's the environment I want, always wanted.
Yeah.
I don't need fancy suits. Come and let's help these clients.
That's it.
I'll answer the phone at midnight. You'll answer, and so will we. What happens? Your company gets to a certain point or a certain growth point, and that's not there anymore.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
So
At some point, you sell out. There's an
Yeah.
investor who may not care about the work.
So I failed to mention this earlier. You know this. It's a family-owned business.
Yes.
My father started the business 30, 40 years ago with
Yeah.
his brother.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a little different. And you own your business, right?
Yes.
And I own my business house. So
Yes.
for us, it's different, right? But
Yes.
to your point, I do wonder, when I hit the goals that I'm looking to hit, what I'm going to do.
I can't see myself ever stop doing this until God takes me home.
Yeah.
I
You
just
love what you
love
do.
it. I get it.
I love what I do too. That's the problem.
And I don't want to leave. I'll be one of those old guys going to meetings, solving network problems.
I'm with you, man. I'm
But
with you.
how do you pass that on? I brought my son to a meeting,
Yeah.
and he puked all over the guy's floor. He doesn't call
That's
me
great.
anymore.
That's great.
But I guess how do you pass it on?
I don't know, man. It's awesome though.
Yeah, so if the guy who owns the restaurant is watching,
Right.
we're in his office, and my son, I brought him like, come to my meetings for me, and I'm going off having a great meeting. The gentleman asks my son, "Hey, did you have a good time?" And he pukes right there on the floor.
My. No
Oh
way,
man,
dude.
it was fabulous.
That's
So
crazy.
It's it makes me enjoy what I do even more.
Absolutely.
He forgave me. He has
Yeah.
kids himself.
Yeah,
but,
how could you not?
but how did you? Your dad's and you work with your dad and your mom, right? They were.
I'll be honest
He
with you.
did it with
man.
you. Look at
Yeah,
you.
I'll be honest with you. When I was a kid, started like 12 years old. It's a funny story. Great story.
Okay, let's hear it.
12 years old, right?
Yes.
Summertime. All my friends are on the block playing. Oh no, it wasn't summertime. It was winter. It was
Okay,
winter. It was
winter time.
Holiday break. okay?
Holiday break.
I'm hanging out. Right?
Where is
I got
this,
nothing
Queens?
to do.
Where is
Going
this?
to Manhattan.
Going to the
Okay.
city.
Turkish rug dealer. One of the biggest in Manhattan at the time.
Okay.
Never forget this. 57th and 6th.
Okay.
Okay. Beautiful. 57th and 3rd, somewhere
Yeah,
around
yeah,
there, wherever
nice
it was.
area at the time.
A beautiful area, right? I walk in, and my dad's got his crew there. He's got four or five guys there working with him. And the owner of the building, the old man, was 85 years old.
Yeah.
Gives me $100.
Okay.
I'm 12 years old.
Yes. For helping out.
Just for being there. Just because it was holiday time. And he's like, "Hey, kid, you look like a nice kid. Here's $100.
Nice.
It changed my. It was like, wow, this is that easy. You show up, get $100. Jeez, this is great. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
That's awesome. And you're hanging out with your family,
That's
your
it,
friends.
man. And then, when I got into high school, my friends were always playing in the summertime. I wanted to make money, man.
Yeah.
I wasn't getting paid a lot. I remember like it was yesterday. I was getting $50 a week.
Yeah.
So I was making $450 a summer.
Yes.
Right. And I
Yes.
did that from 14 to 17.
Wow.
It wasn't about making money at that time. It was about
Learning.
just being out in the field, working, getting my hands dirty. I just loved what I did.
Yeah,
And I learned that business from the ground up from there.
Oh man, so I just got to match you on that. When I was 14, I was on the North Hempstead Country Club at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning,
Nice.
and put out by the caddy master to carry putters.
Really?
And hang out with some of the most wealthy individuals
Yep.
on the North Shore.
Yep.
And the experience I got from there. I mean, I'd come home with hundreds of dollars in my pocket. My parents probably thought I was a drug dealer. But yeah, man, that's make an early story.
Yeah.
I meet kids who are in their 20s. They haven't had the experience yet. What do you do, man?
I don't know, man. This new age of iPads, both good and bad. But I mean, I'm sure when you were growing up, when I was growing up, I was in the street. I was playing ball in the street every day.
Ball in the street.
That's what I want to do. Just go outside with my friends. We had a great block.
Yes.
I had like 6, 7 kids on my block.
Same.
Every day, just outside playing ball. Every sport, manhunt,
Yes.
football, baseball, basketball, whatever. Hockey.
Yes.
Never saw a Spanish
But
kid
why
playing
did
hockey back in the day. What are we doing in the hockey, man? Playing roller hockey, right?
That's funny.
But yeah, man, it was.
Oh man, those were the days. Same here. Moved to America, playing stickball was my thing.
That's what I'm
Stickball,
saying.
man.
Who didn't love stickball?
Yeah.
Now, did you play against the wall or did you play sewer to sewer?
Oh, I did against the wall.
Really?
And then,
I did both.
And then we did handball. I was
Yep.
really good at Chinese handball,
Yeah.
better at American handball.
Yeah.
Back of the church, Astoria. I remember it. Everybody was together.
Yeah, man.
Spanish, white.
It didn't matter.
Don't
Yeah.
even see it, man.
It
Even
didn't
talk
matter.
about it.
Yeah.
It didn't matter, man.
That's how we grew up too.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And,
And,
it's just now it's everything's an iPad. You know, I had this discussion with my friends recently. What do we,
No, man, you got to get out and do stuff. We
gotta-
force it away from our kids.
Yeah.
You know, I have a Google router I could turn off, be like, looks like Verizon went down again. My son's like, Verizon stinks. I'm like, yeah.
Dad, isn't this what you do? Yeah, I don't know.
tell my
I'm gonna have
wife,
to
I'm
call
like-
somebody for this one.
Meanwhile, this internet's not been down for years, but
You gotta love it.
but you got to do that to your kids sometimes. You got to pull it out.
Gotta throw them into the fire,
But
man.
hold on. If my son ever watches this show, he'll be 18. Dad, you did it on purpose?
That's great. That's
No,
great.
I did it so we could play outside, all right?
Yeah,
That's why
yeah.
you're good at baseball.
Absolutely, absolutely. Can hit a ball a mile now.
Exactly.
That's it.
So, but that's interesting. So it sounds like you really enjoy working with your crew,
Yeah.
and you saw your dad doing it,
Yeah.
and you're doing it now,
And he's still involved.
and you're still involved.
He's still involved. He's still in the business.
Wow. So one day you're gonna have kids.
Yeah, I'm not there yet. My beautiful wife, if she's watching,
Hello.
she's got some things she's taking care of right now, and then after that, we're gonna.
But imagine going another generation deep with this behavior. How sick would that be?
I mean, it'd be awesome. I would love it. Hope to God, knock on wood, it could
Yeah.
happen. You know.
Yeah.
I hope the same for you. By the way.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
hope your
absolutely.
son gets involved.
I see my daughter more than my son for some reason.
Really?
I don't know why.
Maybe now though.
Maybe now.
He might
yeah.
change.
Yeah. He's
know?
into a lot of different things.
You go to
but-
college, and then
Yeah.
you start seeing the world a little differently.
Yeah.
you know?
But we've had the talk, and she's gonna come on the show, and she's
No
gonna be
way.
a co-host.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I hope to have a couple of special musicians on, and she's gonna co-host. and
That's very
stuff.
cool.
Yeah, it should be fun.
You never know though. Your son may, he might find his passion.
Yeah, no, I think he will. He's a extremely talented young man. And my wife are the traditional European family. You know,
Right.
she's really tough,
Right.
and I'm really smart. No, just kidding. It somehow works. I'm just kidding.
I love your modesty. It's so great.
Yes, absolutely. No, seriously. Hopefully we give them a good mix and then make them contemplate things.
Right.
And one of the games I play with my son is who's the bad guy, I'll throw him examples like the homeless guy stole fruit from the grocery store and the cops showed up.
Right.
And they arrested him. There's 100 different scenarios
Right.
of who the bad guy is.
Right.
And I think that the one perspective kids are missing is depending on the scenario and scene you're in, there's different attributes of the people you're involved.
That critical thinking example you just illustrated is fantastic, and I think it's needed.
Yeah.
I think it really is needed. That and to me, financial literacy is a
Financial literacy for kids, yes.
is something that is missing in our world today.
Interesting. Yeah, no, we pay our kids for chores.
Right.
We
Well,
show
that's-
them money.
you have to do
We
that.
roll quarters to count how much is there.
Right.
It's on their mind.
Yes, you got to teach them early.
Yeah,
People don't know
yeah.
how to save money.
That's a really good point. So I learned about checking accounts and everything around 12, 13.
Same here. Yeah, I learned how to balance a checkbook at 12, 13. My mother
Yeah.
was like your wife.
Yes.
Iron fist. She didn't.
Yes.
There was no playing around.
Yeah, same with my mom.
Right.
I did checking. She's like, taught me how to fill out the
Yep.
checking thing,
She told me how to balance it.
how to balance
all
it,
that.
correct, double checked it,
Right.
was on top of it with the finances.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's a missing tool right now. You don't see that enough.
But I will say I took a little bit of advantage of it. Once I knew how to make money and rotate it, I was buying all kinds of stuff. They had no idea.
Man, that's how it is, though. Imagine if they had Robin Hood back then.
Yes.
Forget
oh,
it.
man.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah.
What would you have been doing?
Wow. But, you know, now think about this, man. All the dumb shit that I did before the iPhone came out.
Oh, me too.
You know, you can't do all that. Like, we did some really stupid things, like, you know, throwing eggs at people while driving.
That was the best.
I mean, right now, you'd be arrested, beaten.
Yeah, well, everyone's a news reporter now.
Right, yes.
It's crazy.
Everyone's
a news reporter. Everyone. And you want to do anything? Oh, look, I got him on camera. I got him on my iPhone. That's it. TMZ, pay me.
I'll even make a theme song and a logo.
That's it. TMZ, pay me. Pay through my LLC. Here you go.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
It's that real right now.
Yeah. No one was able to just video us doing stuff.
It's different times. You know, it's different times. The phone. I've always said this: phones and technology hurts and helps us. Right? The internet, it killed a lot of businesses.
Yeah.
Tremendously, but it helps us in so many ways.
Did you see during the pandemic when they had the riots? Some of the guys walked up with special strobe lights to the camera, and it messed up the camera feed. You see that?
Yeah.
So there's strobe lights that can stop that camera from properly recording.
Yeah.
That's technology looking into.
I guess everyone's going to have to carry a strobe light now.
A small one in your keychain.
That's it.
Cybermaster's version for $49.99.
What a plug.
Something we'll come up with.
What a plug.
But hold on. No one's got anti-camera recording strobe lights, so you know what I mean? Listen, I'm going to possibly erase this from this segment because that's $1 billion idea.
There you go.
Now,
you gotta scrub that one. Copyright that.
So obviously the show is not going as normally planned. We got a lot of interesting stuff to talk about. But I really like this dialogue, especially because I've spent my life seeing businesses, and especially parent-son, grandson businesses.
Right.
And it's very rare to see that it works.
Right.
One of the ones that I saw was incredible that worked is Peter Nagy from this dental manufacturer, where his father was a survivor of the Holocaust.
Wow.
And started a dental practice that his son took over and brought through the moon.
That's beautiful.
And I saw the love and respect he had that was part of that.
Right.
Do you have the same?
Yeah.
Your love and respect wants you to be part of it.
I'll tell you the truth. What I love about my environment is the ability to stay close to my family, because to me family's everything.
To not have to travel so much and be away.
Yeah, that's one thing. But also legacy, right? Like I don't know, I'm competitive. I know you are.
I am competitive.
Right. I am uber competitive, right? I've been an athlete my whole life.
Yes.
And it's like I secretly want to leave my legacy behind, where I want to do better than my old man. And nothing against him, has nothing to do with that, but I feel like generationally you want to do better than the last generation, right?
I was thinking about legacy when I was 12, 14.
That's what I'm saying.
I was already, so many kids don't think about that. They're like, that's so silly to think about. Why not think about your legacy at early age?
What are you going to leave to the next generation?
Well, that's what they say. Imagine who you want to be in this life.
Right.
I was imagining, I could be this.
Right.
And I'd visualize it.
Right.
I could be this.
Right.
I'd visualize
Right.
it. And I'd try a certain sample where I could go in that direction.
Absolutely.
Why do kids in their 20s? How do you pick it up if you never did it at 12, 13 like you and I? Doesn't make us geniuses.
Well,
doesn't make us geniuses.
I think the better question is how many, because I've heard this so much lately, how many people are unhappy with their jobs? How many people are unhappy with their situations? And they're afraid to make a change because it's risky. Right?
They're stuck. They're so afraid of the unknown.
Right. But they're so unhappy. Dude, this life is so short. Just be happy. If you don't like something, make a change, man. Like,
I know a lady, she's extremely talented. We're close, and worked in not the best environment, but fought regardless.
right.
Because real workers, real fighters, regardless of the environment, they fight.
That's it. Yeah.
Oh, it sucks going to work. All right, where's my shoes? I'm going to work.
They got the heart of a lion.
The heart of a lion.
That's it. Yeah.
The heart of a lion.
That's it. It's hard, man.
People take advantage of that, Chris.
All the time. Hey, listen, we live in a capitalist society. There's gonna be,
And then when those individuals break out, they're like, oh my gosh, why didn't I do it before?
Yeah, I could have did this 20 years ago.
Yeah. Is it vision that we've had? What gave us the ability to be so open? I don't think I'm egotistical. I was just unafraid to try.
Well, I think that's it, right? I think taking risk is it. A lot of people have, how many times you hear someone say, I have this great idea, right? And you may say, yeah, it is a great idea.
Yeah.
And that's it. It falls on deaf ears.
Yeah.
They don't want to take the risk. They don't want to look for financing. They don't want to put a business plan together. There's a lot you got to do to get to where you want to be, right? So
I'm in my late 40s, and within the last 90 days, I've constructed what you see here.
right.
I've laid this out. I've taught myself all of the software. Clearly, you guys see me make mistakes once in a while, but it's near perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody had to tell me. I just grabbed
You grab the bull by the horns.
and
that's
just
what you got to
bam,
do.
here we are.
That's it, man.
You know?
Got to grab the bull by.
But people think that this is a special thing. Anybody could do it, man.
Can do it, especially with YouTube.
Yes.
Dude, come on.
But anything, whether you want to learn cybersecurity or be a guitar player,
Whatever it is, you got to try. You got to risk it.
Yeah.
You got to go all in.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, you're just going to be, complaining your whole life.
Yeah.
You got to make a change.
And to be honest, like I have a farm I'm starting. I'd love to be a full-time farmer.
Really?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I could imagine myself one day when I'm old, some guy driving by in a Benz and see me overalls and be like, "Look at that guy. He's never seen the city before." Like I want to be like that country.
Yeah, of course, overall.
And I'm really good. I'm good at farming. I'm
Really?
good at planting. I know how to take care of things.
That's awesome.
So, you don't have to just learn one thing. There's many things you could be an expertise in.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you got to be diverse in anything you do, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're not, what is the saying? If you're not learning, you're not growing.
Yes.
And I firmly believe that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be pertaining to what you do,
Exactly.
like what you just said.
Yeah.
You could learn about anything.
Yeah. The dialogue you and I have is really interesting, especially on the projects we work together. We're on the same page.
Yeah.
We know the expectation.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say to a lot of the young people out there, technology. It's still primarily human interaction.
Absolutely.
And that's where you're winning. You understand the technology, but you realize the human interaction supersedes all of that.
It does. I mean, well, it's so. I have I don't want to call him a mentor, but I have an older gentleman who I've known forever. He's 94 years old. And he told me one time, he said, I treat the janitor with the same respect that I treat the C-level employees.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people have heard that before. But I kind of try to live by that because we all bleed red, right? You show me someone who's bleeding blue, I might get a little afraid. I'm not going to lie to you.
I was in a restaurant with a couple of clients and a vendor, and the lady asked us 100 times if we had everything we wanted,
Right.
and he yelled at her.
Really? Yeah, I don't
Can't
like that.
do that.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And they never got the deal, and it's the only thing they ever remembered about the guy
Of
is him
course.
yelling at that waitress.
Think about the lasting impression.
Yeah.
That's what they had.
Yeah, and she's just trying to make sure everything's okay. Like,
Yeah.
she was annoying us, but who cares?
Who cares? She's
You
just
know?
trying to do her job. She's trying to make sure you're having a good experience in her restaurant.
Yeah,
That's the way I
yeah,
look at it, You
Yeah,
don't have to
tho-
be so malicious.
exactly.
You know?
Sometimes those people also have a hell of a lot better stories than any of the,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
their struggle to make it through the world and see it
Yeah.
from that perspective is sometimes more enjoyable than all these people who just deal with financial problems all day long.
You never know people's stories, right? You don't know who's who. You don't know who knows
You don't know who's who. Yes,
You know
exactly.
that's the biggest thing to me that I've learned. Who knows who? You never know. You can meet someone who you may judge from the outset and say, oh, what's he going to do for me? And next thing you know, he's with the who's who, right?
Yeah.
And it happens a lot. So
Well, that's good. How do you, you're in the security and access control business. It's a very trust
yes.
sale, I assume. People look at you, they look at your company, they want to see high trust.
Yep.
How do you present that so quickly besides the history that your company has created?
The biggest thing is being honest. Trust me, I know sales is, we all want to close the $1 million deal, the sale. We all want to do it. Of course we do. Come on. Right? But I look at the long picture. I'm always a long play guy, right? And I always tell myself, listen, give them the right solution. Could you mislead them and upsell them on something they don't need and
Sure.
oh, it didn't work because of this, and then pass the buck? Yeah, you can do that. I don't know how long you're going to be in business, but you could do that. But, my phone always rings, and I'm honest. I just tell people what the truth. Like,
Chris, in the school system, especially in New York, a lot of sales were made for cybersecurity items.
Yes.
A lot of fancy equipment was sold by fancy salespeople.
Yes.
Who probably won't watch a show after these comments.
Okay.
But it obviously didn't work.
Right. Yeah.
So, there was a lot of high gain trust, and they fell down hard. Those salespeople turn around and says, well, the school didn't implement it correctly.
Right.
It's not my fault. I gave
Right.
them what they needed.
Right.
What's your take on that response from a salesperson?
They're not being accountable. It's accountability's half the battle. But it's not just in sales; it's in life also. Like there's so many people that they never get their break, or they're always behind the eight ball. They want to blame everyone. Well, you got to blame the person in the mirror.
Yes.
It's you.
Well, because only the person in the mirror can fix it.
Exactly.
The other person was not going to give a shit.
You weren't involved. The other people weren't involved. You were involved. Fix it. Make it happen.
It's much easier to blame others.
Oh, of course. Who doesn't want to? Everyone wants to point the finger. Me and you can't do that.
It's uncomfortable to say I'm at fault.
Yeah, I mean it is, but it takes humility. You got to swallow your pride, and people respect it because they know he's owning up to it. What can I say? It's like
I have no problem saying I messed up, but people think I'm a dumbass after a while.
You remember 8 Mile, Eminem?
Yes,
Dude,
that movie.
Who doesn't love 8 Mile, right?
Yeah.
So remember in the last scene, the last rap scene, when he's talking about himself.
Yes,
and the guy gets on the mic and he goes,
he's
got nothing to say because the guy he held himself accountable.
Yes,
he held himself accountable. He said, "Yeah, I got this. I got that. This is a problem. That's a problem. Yeah, I have all that. Okay, now your turn."
Yeah.
So
I believe that's why my partner is still with me and my crew and all the people in my life is I hold myself 100% accountable.
Well, you have to. I do the same.
It's scary.
I do the same. When I mess up, it's my fault.
Yeah.
And I have no problem with my staff saying, "Guys, I messed up."
Yeah.
I don't want it to happen all the time, but things happen.
Listen, guys, let's jump in a little bit. Let me do a little bit of a tech news and
Sure.
This is an amazing conversation, by the way. Thank you. Running a business and being responsible is something everybody hears about, but it's pretty hard to actually maintain over time.
It really is.
And especially someone to work with your parents in that capacity.
Yeah.
Maybe not everybody has the same thing that you have with your parents and that level of respect, but it has to be tried. And people should try it. If your father or mother says, "Hey, give my business a try," it has to at least be tried. There may be something there that's incredible.
You never know. You can always. What's the worst thing that happens? You build it up, you sell it.
But kids have said they build up tension from their parents. I don't
Right.
want to see this person again.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't need to be that way.
It doesn't have to be that way at all.
I'll tell you one thing that I've learned too is communicating with your staff about how to get a raise is huge. And a lot of people don't
What do you mean?
understand business, right?
What do you mean?
So, let's say you have you have an operations manager that wants $1 million, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Whatever the number is, right?
Yeah.
And you got to tell them, all right, listen, here's the deal. The revenue coming in is X, let's say $2 million, right? I can't pay you more until I drive this revenue. The way I drive this revenue is you help me get jobs done faster or more efficient. So it's a two-pronged approach.
So you're having a full business conversation,
You
not
wanna-
about the tech work necessarily.
You want to make money? Cool. Help my life be easier, and we'll get you to that next level. If you don't do that, I can't pay you more. I'm still going to get paid what I'm going to get paid.
They don't feel insulted hearing that? Like, why are you laying this on me?
Let me tell you something.
You know what I mean?
Keep it transparent and you tell them the truth and you let them know. Just hold. The one thing I will say,
you gotta
be honest, but you got to hold your
through.
word. Like if that revenue does get to whatever that number is,
Right, you gotta show.
he's going to be looking at you like, all right, you
Yeah.
told me to do this.
Yes.
Now what am I getting?
Yeah.
Where's my reward?
But it sounds like you want that honor and you look forward to that, and that solidifies
definitely.
that engineers out there by themselves making their own decisions.
Absolutely.
Right? You know what I
you
mean?
got to empower them, right?
You gotta empower
You got to
them,
empower your employees.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Guys, jumping into a little tech news about VPNs. I'm going to keep it a little short tonight, but it's pretty exciting information. Here we go. Some technology news by Ed Notella. And as VPN firms start to leave India, governments hold a joint meeting. So what's happening here is VPNs are being used in a number of different ways. In security, VPNs are used where we have a secure tunnel from the client's machine into their network, networks to networks, secure encrypted tunnels. VPNs are also used for anonymous surfing, for people to get all kinds of movies and files and that kind of thing. So traditionally, people buy VPNs, connect to a site, and then anonymously be able to surf and gain data on the internet. Well, these new rules in India are saying that they want every VPN vendor to be able to hold all the data for 5 years.
Yeah, I've heard that. I saw that.
So on top of that, they're also saying that they want all hacks to be reported within 6 hours.
Yeah.
So they're trying to come up with some really strange language to lock down what everybody's been wide openly using, you know. Keeping information for 5 years and allowing with Rule 41, local authorities to get a warrant for servers that are overseas.
So what do you think is going to happen with the future of this type of environment, the VPN environment?
I unfortunately think these sound really lovely.
Okay.
And these
Sounds
rules,
great on paper.
These rules sound awesome. It's everything I've always wanted to
Okay.
hear. It's always something I've wanted to hear from the very beginning in
Okay.
the 90s and 20 years ago and 10 years ago and into the future. I don't know if the good guys will be able to stop the bad guys.
Yeah, that's always the case.
Now, okay. Now, in this particular article with India, there's two vendors, Surfshark, and a couple other vendors looking to move out completely and not operate in those areas because of those requirements. And I think that people find ways around this.
Of
I
course.
think it's a good idea. People are fighting it, though. There's certain groups saying that it's not good. Because if they allow to do that, then you could put warrants in. It's possible individuals could be affected from it. They now have wide open to get warrants. There'll be collateral damage of people in there.
Well, I got to think, though, from a 5-year perspective, right? Now you're asking to hold it for 5 years. There's going to be a lot of liability concerns.
Correct. So now, technically, the FBI could say, give me the VPN used from that guy from 3 years ago on an investigation that's been going on. I like it. There's quite a bit of hacking going on overseas, stopping them from using VPNs to have hurt American citizens. I like it. I think it's something positive. The negative thing is I think they'll find quick ways around it.
We'll see. I mean, I know insurance premiums are going to go through the roof.
Oh, they already have.
Cybersecurity.
Cybersecurity is going up. My policy is up about 15%.
So is mine. Yeah.
And 16.5 to be specific.
Yeah.
And it's going to keep going up.
It's cost of doing business.
And keep in mind also insurance, you're going to have your E&O policy, now you have your cyber policy. That cyber policy is being looked to split in half with a cyber policy and a separate ransom payout policy.
I saw that.
So they're looking for even more money from us, you know. Just want to jump into my next segment here, which is going to be about this Rule 41, which is basically on top of all of this regulation that's happening with VPNs, they're now allowing under Rule 41, which has been out for several years, to be able to have authorities from the United States do searches on servers that are overseas.
Really?
And that is what this is all about.
Really?
Let's take a look at this for a second. So VPNmentor.com is the website. The impact of Rule 41 on VPN users. The major debate currently wrapping the United States over changes of the rule that dictates how law enforcement can perform electronic searches on suspect computers, not only in the United States, but also overseas.
That's interesting.
So now with VPN data being kept for so long, you know, it takes sometimes FBI years to get over these investigations. They can go back and take a look at this data.
It's almost becoming like a global economy.
Yes.
On the tech level.
On the tech level.
Yeah.
And you need that because look at the attacks we're seeing from overseas. The pieces are put in place that if you really need to dig deep into an investigation, you're now going to be able to. Rule 41, the VPN rules.
So I'm assuming there's a world cyber organization regulating everything?
There's CSSA is
Okay.
the group.
Okay.
I could tell you there's 7 or 8 groups in India. There's so many groups around the world that are sort of forming. You're still in a completely unregulated field.
Of course, it's like
There's-
crypto. It's
there's
just like crypto. It's just
There's no regulation
Right,
really. There's
right.
Jimmy who's 14 could set up a whole network and there's no recourse if the
Right.
client gets hacked.
Absolutely.
Think about that, right?
Yeah.
So that has to change over time.
That's tough.
So just looking at this quick graphic here on the Zeus server and the botnet architecture, where you have this multiple computers being accessed there from multiple sites. So you have a bunch of botnets that are infected and getting to your main computer. Some of the largest attacks we saw, what was it, when Microsoft went down, it was 380,000 infected home computers on cable modems with botnets that were coming in and intruding.
Yeah, that's heavy.
Attacking that website, bringing it to its knees.
So what's being done for education purposes, though? How are you mitigating risk?
There's a lot of cybersecurity training in schools and things like that out there. I believe it's pretty splintered.
Okay.
I would say in this industry, it's the guy who is self-motivated like we were.
Okay.
Grab your stuff, experiment at home, get into these groups, and that's the way people are really learning.
You don't think there's going to be some sort of maybe potentially weekly show on TV?
I called AARP.
Okay.
And I spoke with the lady there, and I said, wouldn't it be smart if all your members had a website or a channel or training
okay.
that could include it with all the membership?
I like it.
So
Fell by the wayside.
They had said, it's
Really?
crazy. You sound crazy.
Really?
There's no way we'll do that.
Really?
Will there be shows? I plan to expand a show where I do my ransomware training on here.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way it's going to expand. You can look on YouTube.
Yeah.
We have a product that we sell that tests everyone and puts them into training classes.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of evolving.
I
So
think that's
awareness
the way
training
this is going to have to
evolving.
go.
But I don't think it's fair that the American business public has to be the cyber defense wall for America.
Okay.
So while in this perceived free country, we can have our own businesses and I have to buy my own products to defend myself.
Okay.
In other countries, they've taken it on as a government initiative to protect their citizens against this cyber attack. People think I'm crazy, but a little bit of government-owned internet would make the businesses not be the front human
Right.
shields to these foreign attacks.
That makes sense.
You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, that
man?
makes sense. There's some validity to that.
But what comes with that bag?
Right.
What comes with that bag, man? A
Well,
lot
the-
of stuff.
The
man,
liability
you
is
know?
the biggest thing.
Liability is
They
the
don't
biggest
want to.
thing.
No one wants to take that on.
Nobody wants to take that on.
Never.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
But it has to. But so perceivably though, the next couple of years is still kind of just like everybody's out there doing their own thing.
Right.
All these little experts, all these little groups.
Right.
And you see it in the hacker groups now, right? So they're getting together and they're bonding. They're
Right.
making those little. Jimmy's really good and Fred's really good, and they get together and make these independent rebel groups.
Yeah.
And they're stronger than the authorities in
Yeah.
many cases.
They can't
you know?
compete.
They can't
The
compete.
authorities can't
Yeah,
compete.
Exactly.
No.
Let's just jump into a little access control action. I thought this was a really good description. I just want to go through it with you real
Definitely.
quick. You are an access control master.
Yes.
We've worked together. I was as a client,
Yep.
as a partner,
Yes.
as a friend,
Yes.
all kinds of things we've done together.
Yes.
And I just want to take the audience through some of this a little bit because I thought it was really good. So access control, you do enterprises, you do schools,
Yes.
you do hospitals, you've done a lot of residential communities.
Yep.
Let's go through these first 10 items that I think are really important to understand. Most RFID access cards and fobs are not secure. Why do they say that?
So right now, and this wasn't always the case. I would say probably like 2019, 2018, there was a device that came out
Yes.
that you can hack someone's key fob or card standing next to them and open that door. You
Really?
can clone it. Yes.
We were buying that stuff by the millions.
Oh, who is? Come on now, everyone.
Interesting. So in the last year or two, there's been a major push.
So there's a new technology out that it's gonna be.
So you telling me if you bought your RFID access system 5 years ago, you can get a little hacker thing that'll get you right in?
Correct, right now.
Oh, come on.
I mean, you
man.
have to be close to.
Bullshit.
You got to be close to Ed. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yes, you gotta know the guy.
and know that Ed has master rights to every door and whatever the case may be.
Wow.
But yeah, there's a device you can hook up to your phone, and you can clone
The card?
Ed's card.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Wow. So, okay.
So to your point, that not secure is now holding water. Before I didn't really believe so, but it's
man,
definitely come true.
So you can test for that with your business, and you can make sure they've got the current equipment where that's not happening.
Right. There's some equipment out right now, and it's going to be happening. There's going to be tons of upgrades happening within the next, I don't know, 3 to 5 years. As these articles pick up steam.
How do you see that's happening? A dude walking up to staff? Like, how do you see it? Or a
yeah,
girl that
it
wanna
could be anyone.
sexist?
It could be
Just
it could be
coming
anyone.
close with them with a small reader?
Yeah.
Hooks up to your phone?
Hooks up to your phone.
Oh, man.
Yeah, man.
All right.
So it's interesting. I don't know.
Make sure to stay up to date with that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
pretty scary.
Yeah.
All right, so the next thing's pretty interesting. Biometrics and smartphone credential limitations.
Yep.
What do they mean by that? Why are there limitations?
So the limitations basically, you can only do so much with the smartphone
App thing.
apps and all that. You know, it's not really robust. I don't really know if it ever will be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's only so much we could do with the phones.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I know everyone's advertising that, and it's a smart play. You know, everyone takes their phone with them wherever they go. Most people, they do some of their best reading when they're in the bathroom. You know, you know how that goes.
Yes.
But
I'm not going to use
right.
your phone.
So, anyways, so in like the corporate environment or in those types of environments, they're taking their phone everywhere they go with them.
Interesting.
So the premise is, hey, they're always going to have their phone with them.
Not always the case.
Not always the case.
Interesting. So you got limitations.
Yes.
So you need a reader, a card,
Yes.
maybe your phone, multiple ways to get in.
I personally think multi-step authentication is the wave
Multi-step authentication.
that this is going to go.
Okay.
I think because of cybersecurity and including
Yes.
RFID tags and all that, I think that's the way this
So
is
it's
all
going to take
go.
4 keys to get in.
No, it's
like
gonna
the way
take-
I get into my accounting system takes me 20 minutes.
It's going to take, what I think is going to happen, they're going to upgrade a lot of the card readers to keypad and procs,
Okay.
you know?
Okay.
And so basically you swipe your key and then you have to enter in a code.
Oh, both, not
Yeah.
one or
Yeah,
the
dual
other.
authentication.
Gotcha.
You know, something like that. I could see something like that. I know I know at the airports they have the card swipe. You have to swipe your card, put your code in, and then the door opens.
Is it hard to maintain that inventory or keep track of who's got what?
I mean,
Is that a problem in that industry?
The key is reporting. You really have to stay ahead of the reporting. You gotta do your weekly reports, update your tables. If you don't do that, you can get lost behind really
That
quick.
costs extra.
Oh
assume,
yeah.
Unless
Oh
you
yeah.
have
I
a
mean,
plan. Or you need a guy. You need a person
Yeah,
to deal with it.
yeah. I mean, we put service contracts on everything that we do for that reason.
Yeah.
You know, because we have to maintain it. So.
Jim, I'll get to your question in a second. I want to talk about how Ukraine affected the cybersecurity industry. Pretty interesting. Let me grab a couple of these other things because certainly access control and the hacks that have been happening since the war include biometric and
Absolutely.
access control systems. So quite a bit, Jim, in that direction. Number 3, needless exposure to third-party vulnerability. Big deal.
Yeah. Huge. I mean, what you were just talking about.
Right? Right. The vendor of your vendor.
Yeah. It's
The technician who's a contractor for your security vendor.
Absolutely.
Right?
There's tons.
Was that person vetted?
Right. There's tons of back doors. You know what I mean?
Tons of backdoors.
I guess to your point about even the Ukraine, that whole goes hand in hand.
Hand in hand,
You know?
guys. Needless exposure to third-party vulnerabilities. Very interesting. Number 4, multi-site access management complexities.
So,
Because we had that with our
Yes.
system.
enterprise level.
Where certain people are allowed in certain buildings, not other buildings, and there was a slight confusion, especially during an administration change where people swap. Now access control, it can get hairy.
It can get hairy. You really need someone who's going to take control of it. and that's half the time.
Is it a security officer or somebody separate? Who does that?
Honestly, it has to be someone that understands the technology, because it's
More of a check.
It changes fast.
Okay.
It really changes.
How do you
fast.
get over multi-site management complexities? Constant reporting. It sounds like you're
Constant
staying on top of it
reporting,
with the client.
checking in, soft check-ins, you're pinging panels. We have the managed services set up on each panel. Basically, we'll know if a panel's going off, failing, and that's down to power supplies now, because power supplies now are smart.
How have you made time for soft tests in your operation?
It's every night.
It's a requirement.
Yeah, it's a requirement of us. It's not a requirement of the clients, but it's what we offer the client as part of our managed services. If they don't want to go with that sort of offering,
Yes.
then I have them sign
A waiver.
waiver saying if anything happens, we're not held liable.
Yeah.
But
So I
9
do
times
this-
out of 10, they take it.
I do the same thing. My clients are locked out of their admin accounts
Yeah.
on their workstations,
Yep.
and if they want it, they have to sign a waiver.
Absolutely.
That's a risk you're taking as a
100%.
vendor there.
Yeah.
Number 5, delays to update taking effect at doors. Delays
Yeah.
of updates. Now,
Yeah.
we saw that.
Yeah.
It took several hours to lock people out as
Absolutely.
the changes go over the network from server to server.
Absolutely. That's a big,
How do you overcome delays when you work?
The biggest thing that I'm seeing is bandwidth issues. We had this issue, me and you. I know we have a
Bandwidth, not enough bandwidth.
yeah. I like to, and I like to operate this way. I like to create VLANs for everything.
Excellent. Separate everything.
Yeah, I do it as when I can do it. I've even taken a hit on the cost of hardware just so that we can, be forward thinking and forward centric in the approach. So for me, I like to segment everything, all systems with their own VLAN, so that you don't run into that issue.
Amen. I think that you're right on the money. These delays can be cornered in by segmenting your network properly.
Absolutely. And then if
VLANing out what's not supposed to be together.
and because cameras, the bandwidth of cameras is insane. I mean that's a load in itself. So
Mind the gap between physical and IT access security. Ooh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
So you got your login to your workstation, and you're walking in the front door.
yeah.
So, I had so many different ideas around that. How do you do it?
The best way that I've seen is LDAP.
Which is integration of your login to your computer at work
Yes.
to the access control system.
That's
but
correct.
but so many people will not want that.
Yeah.
You mean, Chris, that when I sit down and log in,
Yeah.
it'll tell my boss exactly when I click the button for the
Yeah.
I came in?
Yeah. It's
Because people come in, they hang out by the water cooler, they
Right.
go to the bathroom.
Right.
Around 10:15ish, they log into their machine sometimes.
Well, look at it this way. Now with everything going biometric, with checking in and time and attendance, it's another form of an LDAP integration, right? Because you have to put your fingerprint to get into your facility to, check in, to
Okay.
get paid payroll. And everyone's going with that right now. ADP's pushing that hard. I know there's a number of other companies that are pushing it right now.
Really?
So, okay, you didn't want the LDAP way where you sit down on your computer. That's fine, but guess what? Now you have to clock in, and you have to get your fingerprint. So it's kind of a either way, you're going to be tracked. You're going to get into the facility. They know what's going on.
Yeah, I really like password management with multi-factor inside the password manager.
Okay.
To use that for physical access and virtual access, it creates a perfect combination.
Right.
So the one password that I use, whether I'm getting into security doors or other things, it sort of all lives inside of that app.
Right. Like a
and-
multi-layered approach.
Multi-layered
Yeah,
approach.
yeah.
And I'd like to do one thing about password because we have our group one password for the company. I got
Right.
my individual.
Right.
So I have access for the company. I have my own. So that's evolving to extreme levels.
Yeah.
I
I think it's going to continue to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Over time, no question. Integration limitations hamper security. Integrating with
Yes.
existing older stuff.
Yes. This is a big one. Big
That's
topic.
a huge one.
Yeah.
7's one of the biggest ones.
I'm going to tell you why. There's so many different types of manufacturers, and when the newest, latest, and greatest comes out, everybody wants it.
Yes.
So,
But it's got to work with the stuff that's there.
Exactly. So if you know what you're doing, there's ways around anything, but you have to know what you're doing.
So there's a lot of issues with number 7 here. Some people who don't understand technology,
Right.
buyers, will say, I want the system, but I'm not going to pay you till it's working with everything that I have.
Correct.
And most dealers just can't accept that.
Right.
The third-party integration of stuff, who knows what they're changing on a daily basis? You
Yeah.
can't guarantee any of that. I've seen systems alive for 4 or 5 years, not fully integrated.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing that I've seen is middleware. Middleware is taking on a life of its own. It's one of the fastest growing industries in my industry, and it's not even, it's a sub part of my industry. But
Middleware being software. that-
absolutely, developing your software's APIs, open APIs, all that, all that SDKs, all that terminology of someone taking two different types of systems and having them talk to each other, right? And
Yes.
creating that middleware.
Yes.
That's a big component of number 7. Huge.
So some vendors have APIs,
Exactly.
some people don't have
Yeah.
APIs.
And if you
you're in the
don't-
middle of these
Right.
manufacturers creating APIs to their
Right.
systems
And-
what fields they.
Exactly. So I have a guy that we lean on for things like that, and he's fantastic.
Now there's stuff in the IoT world where they've changed that stuff,
Yeah.
and you got to start from scratch,
Absolutely.
and they don't care.
Like
and-
Z-Wave.
yeah.
Z-Wave is phasing right now.
Listen, don't tell me that. I got
It is.
mad Z-Wave.
I know you do, but
and I
Z-Wave's
don't want-
phasing.
Please don't go away.
Z-Wave's phasing.
I know, and I'm starting to notice it because what used to be perfect,
Yeah.
it's now glitching on. me.
Yeah.
Lights not always turning on.
You ever notice your firmware and all those updates?
Firmware
right?
update giving me issues. Try back tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, dude.
So integration and I don't see any vendor saying, "Yeah, pay me at the end of the integration with everything." The API world it leaves a lot to be desired. It needs a lot of testing and could change in the middle of an update.
100%.
It could affect your whole master plan.
100%. 100%.
So number 8, cybersecurity risk. Of course,
It's,
what can you say that? There's depending on the size of your organization, it used to be they're going after you.
yeah.
But we see people with 3-4 employees, they're going after you too.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't really matter anymore.
It doesn't really matter anymore.
Yeah.
I just want to say the vulnerability of physical security devices to cyber threat was demonstrated in September 2016 by high profile and widespread denials of service attack across the internet, which was launched from a large number of networks, connected security cameras and DVRs that had been hacked.
Yeah.
Now, remember I was telling you about that attack?
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
huge.
That
Hundreds
was
of thousands.
that the Hike Vision one? The Chinese one?
No, I think that I forget the name. Patera was.
Oh
that
yes,
one?
yes.
Petra. I'm sorry, Petra.
Someone with a P, yeah.
Yes, yes.
I remember that.
I know that one too that you're
Yeah,
talking about.
well, that was a
the
big
Hike
one, too.
Vision one's a big one.
Yeah.
And they created large DDoS attacks where the
Uh-huh.
hacker planted stuff on the DVR
Yep.
that was sending stuff out. Good night. See you later.
night.
Just sorry, saying goodbye to our neighbors
That's
here. All right, let's go here. Number 9, data privacy compliance.
That's a huge
The
issue.
most important
Yeah.
situation now, data privacy compliance, meaning that it's not everybody's business or somebody else in the company that Jimmy has access to this or that.
This is
This is a sensitive guy right here.
This
guys.
is a hot topic. Let me tell
Yeah.
you. This is the data privacy compliance is the reason why you're not seeing facial recognition.
Yes.
Privacy concerns. So
Yes.
this is right now. This is hot.
Yes.
Really
yes.
hot.
It's the biggest concern.
Yes.
And big data, meaning how do you separate the data to transact from your personal data?
Exactly.
In the medical industry, how do I disconnect my leg problem? Everyone has a leg problem
Right.
for research and separate it from me who had that issue.
Right.
So data compliance and how does that? You can have an inspector come in and they're now looking at access control systems. It's going to need LDAP.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to need servers that are secure
Yeah.
and updated with a plan.
Yeah.
So
We're required to do LDAP in certain facilities.
Mm.
We're not. There's no way around it.
for hospitals,
Yeah, absolutely.
is it a HIPAA compliance?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, 100%. It's become one.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow, that's got to be tough to manage on a large scale because even Active Directory isn't fully loaded
Yeah.
up on some of these environments.
No,
you know?
it takes a lot of partnering with the IT team on the other side.
And number 10, building safety
Well, yeah,
compliance.
that's
of course.
That's a no-brainer.
Make sure that it's within the building.
Right.
It's compliant to make sure their data's not stolen.
Yeah.
It's compliant within where you're putting in a building.
100%.
I just want to talk about safety compliance. you want cameras in the right spot.
Yes.
So there may be compliance. People have added cameras into other places to make sure they cover the areas they want and still stay compliant.
Yeah.
And you got to be careful. You obviously can't put it in bathrooms. That was a big to-do multiple times over where perverts put cameras in bathrooms, recorded people.
Yeah.
That stuff's going to be scanned. Do you have the ability of going in and checking out a business to make sure they're compliant?
Yeah, I mean, we have guidelines that we, adhere to, and it also depends on the industry. Certain industries require more than others, like the cannabis industry right now.
Oh, yes.
That's
highly regulated.
Yeah.
And what I like about those regulations, they're loose, but they seem to be more modernized and
I mean, it's like anything else, right? So with evolution,
keeping IT in mind. I mean.
Right. And with evolution, they're going to get a little bit more relaxed as new technologies come out, right? Because you're going to find easier ways to do it, better ways to do it, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But, regulations are regulations, and they're there for a reason. So.
I think it's pretty crazy that we're in the IT industry and we're going to be the sort of enablers of recreational marijuana in this region.
Absolutely.
It's crazy to think that all the people have been incarcerated and had their lives altered over having a little bit of weed.
Yeah, I think it's I don't know. I think it's it's tough, man. The way the world was 20 years ago
compared to today
is two different things, right?
Yes.
So, 20 years ago it was like frowned upon, and today it's so accepted that every song you hear these days on the radio is a reference to cannabis, right?
Wow, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Think about the radio.
So that's interesting because I'm seeing that millennials, with that as well as less sense of security requirements for some reason.
Yes.
Why is that happening? Why do they feel, I need to lock this down? They have it anyway.
I feel like they're more of a laissez-faire attitude, the new generation. I don't know if that's the right terminology but I just feel like they don't care as much. It's weird.
Well, that and a lot of weed use, what is that going to create?
I think it kind of goes hand in hand.
Hopefully the music's going to be really good.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking forward to, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Some good tunes and not only rap but good stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Just want to say thank you. We had a great show. Let me just talk about this thing with Jim for a little bit more. How did the war in Ukraine affect cybersecurity industry? What I will say is that clients are ready to take on the cybersecurity awareness training more, where they were holding on to that, allowing for second and third checks of the stuff, understanding who their third parties are, who their fourth parties are, and the acceptance that there's a level of technology you need to work with in order for you to even get insurance to protect yourself.
I agree.
And while that was not taken as seriously 2 years ago, even a year ago, right now people are filling out cybersecurity forms. They're serious, and that's going to really protect us going forward.
So
it's created awareness, Jim.
So do you think within the next, year or two, it's going to be mandated?
I believe
requirement?
I'm not sure of the future because we are in an unlicensed IT industry. Jimmy, Frankie, anybody, your daughter could pick up a computer at 9 years old, install it for a business. If that business gets all their stuff stolen, there is no recourse.
Okay.
We need some licensing and something else to happen before that's taken fully seriously.
So you're thinking
I'll
5
tell
to
you
10
why.
years then?
Maybe even longer. I'll tell you why.
Really?
Because there has to be uniformity around America. It can't be splintered in California. Everyone's doing it different. There has to be some kind of
So you're saying it has to be federal. It has to be a federal
larger
thing.
licensing
Not
model.
state, federal.
It's federal. On a larger licensing model. There has to be from C to C some kind of standard. Something.
That goes hand in hand with Ukraine. Exactly what he brought up the question.
Yes.
That goes hand in hand.
I know.
Yeah. That's tough.
But then we'll always be in a cowboy-like industry where certain specialists like you and I can outperform others with teams 5 times larger.
Well, yeah, because we pay. I feel like it's more granular to us.
Yeah,
No?
yeah.
Like it's more detail centric approach.
But there should you at the same time, it's a damn shame when that business owner lets Jimmy, who doesn't care or unlicensed, incorrectly install the stuff. The guy gets hacked, information gets stolen, all these people are affected, and there's no recourse. If it happens in any other industry, my friend,
Yeah.
plumbing, construction, come on. It doesn't make sense for it to happen in computers, man.
I think the biggest thing, to your point, is going to be insurances.
Insurance is driving it.
Yeah,
Insurance
insurance are going to say, if you don't have this in place, we're not backing you for this, and if you lose everything, it's on you.
Yeah,
And I think that's the way, because everything comes down to liability and money.
yeah.
It always does.
Ultimately.
So,
Guys, thank you very much for another awesome episode of Cyber Masters. I hope that Chris will come back and we'll talk about this stuff more.
absolutely.
Thanks. If there's any questions, hit us up. Have a great
Absolutely.
evening.
Thanks for having me.